some folks in from Human Technologies. A lot happening here. I know we just talked to the Assemblyman. And you guys are heavy still, I think, looking for some support out of Albany, which is always good, too. Maybe we can get into that, creating some opportunities for folks with disabilities, supporting them and strengthening those opportunities as well. But, Nate, let's start off with you. Nate, folks don't know who you are. Let us know what you do and your position there at Human Technologies.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Jason. My name is Nate Linck. I am the manager of marketing and communications with Human Technologies. I am joined with Lisa Green. Lisa is our Vice President of Human Resources. And we're here today to give you a little bit of an overview of who we are, Human Technologies, and then talk about the opportunities that we have there. So, you know, we've had the opportunity to be on the show a few times. And we've given you the full overview of...
Just remember, Nate, there may be people listening right now who didn't hear you the last time. So make sure
I'm going to give you this. Yes, I'm going to give you the... Yes, thank you. I'm going to give you the brief of. So, Human Technologies, for those who don't know, thank you. We are incorporated in 1954 as a 501c3, right? But we operate today as a social enterprise. So really what that means is we operate just as any other for-profit business would operate, except we put our mission and purpose at the forefront of everything we do. So even though we are that 501c3 and we have that tax-exempt status, doesn't mean that we can't be financially successful, and it doesn't mean we can't...
Let me just back up because you're missing... To me, the main point is you hire people who have handicaps of some type, correct?
Disabilities, yeah.
Disabilities.
Yes.
All right, that's the better word.
Yep.
You hire people with disabilities.
Correct.
They work, they
Correct.
go out in the community, and they work, and you're a self-supporting organization.
Yes.
That to me is the crux of what you do, and that's why I think it's such an important organization. You're not getting taxpayer dollars and giving people money to do nothing. They actually go to work every day just like anybody else does. They perform some type of service, and they get paid for it, and that's what you do.
Yes. So that is 100% correct. So again, we have a mission that is simple, but it's very strong. We create employment for people with disabilities. I mean, that's what we do, Mark. And we are self-sustaining, as you said, and that's through our contracts and our business operations. So we operate across New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia. We have an employee in Kentucky as well. One employee out there in Kentucky. So we have five lines of business to help.
Wide range of things.
Wide range of things. So it's environmental services. So full scope janitorial. Facilities management services, so the environmental services is bundled in there, but we'll do HVAC maintenance, electrical, pretty much anything your building needs to keep going on a daily basis. Our team will come in and we'll take care of that for you. Uniform management services, so screen print and embroidery fall under that, but we're kind of like, think of us as like an Amazon for these larger government agencies.
Uniform, you mean the things you wear, the apparel you wear.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example.
Not similar, but the apparel that you
so
wear.
The U.S. Forest Service. So out of Utica, New York, we are the official uniform provider for the U.S. Forest Service, so across the country, right? So we, based on their scope, based on their contract, will procure all of their garments. We'll warehouse them. We'll give them a value add. It could be a screen print, could be an embroidery, could be a hem. We'll warehouse it. We'll ship it. And we also offer them an e-commerce solution. So whether you're at their main office in Virginia or you are in a watchtower in a national forest somewhere, you can log on and order what you need to get your job done, to get your job going. And we also offer a customer service solution with that too.
And that's all through Human Technologies.
All through Human Technologies.
All through those folks 100%. That you employ, right?
Yes. Third-party logistics, warehousing, kitting, and some light manufacturing. And you say, well, why don't you stick to one thing? Well, it's because we're diverse, because we want to create as many opportunities for as many people as we can. And all those things I just talked about, that I think what's at least about 75% of that is done by people with significant disabilities. So there's many opportunities in the organization, and I'm going to transfer over to Lisa and let her kind of talk to you about some of those.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, Lisa, go ahead. I'll give you the same opportunity, Lisa Green. But if you want to introduce yourself and let folks know who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you for having us here this morning. My name is Lisa Green. I'm Vice President of Human Resources for Human Technologies. Coming up on my 1-year anniversary with HT. Couldn't be happier. and happy to be here to really expand a little bit on what Nate said. It is always a privilege to talk about the opportunities we have available. I want to start, Nate and I were talking about this yesterday. in my learning process, I've had a lot of people explain to me what it is we do, obviously. And one of the things that one of my colleagues, I think it was Nate, but he's not sure, said to me is, let me explain the difference to you between other employers and HT. Other employers have products and services, and they hire people to do those jobs, to make the products, to deliver the services. We have products and services too. The difference with HT is that we are looking for business that people who may need some help, some accommodations can do. So it's a little bit of the reverse, right?
Yeah.
And that speaks to our mission to create employment for people with disabilities.
And that gives them independence, that gives them their own stability in a financial sense, right?
Yeah.
And that sense of just the pride, I think, of performing a job.
Absolutely. So today we want to talk about some of the opportunities we have open right now. We actually have 8 positions open. And to find those, by the way, I'll bookend my comments. To find those, you would go to htcorp.net/employment or go to htcorp.net and click on an employment link at the top. Or you could even come into our Dwyer Avenue location. We have a kiosk there. HR team members are
and
there.
it's the former
ready.
ECR building.
Yes,
for people who don't know, correct?
Yes, thank you for mentioning that.
In
Big
East
building.
Utica, right?
Yes, it's right off of Culver Ave. Yep. So great facility. We're still learning it, but it is giving us a lot of opportunity to grow.
We got space,
We got space. We got room to move, which is wonderful. So we do have some positions open, but I really want to highlight the custodial position today for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is the type of position that we hire the most because we are, I think by now we're probably the largest provider of custodial services in upstate New York. Right?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, yes, that's correct. So we have a lot of opportunities in custodial services, but also if you are a person who is maybe just dipping your toe back into the workforce, or you're a person perhaps who needs some accommodations and not quite sure if you're ready to work full-time yet, and we have a lot of different options, a lot of different schedules and locations. For instance, we have a position in Waterville right now for one of our customers that's only 4 hours a week. For somebody, that might be perfect, absolutely perfect. And then we have, others that are 27 and a half hours a week. We have one out in the Binghamton area that is full-time. So what I love about that is that it just allows some opportunity for someone who's maybe not quite sure how much they want to work yet or are able to work
So,
yet.
Lisa, in some of these positions, is there experience needed? Are there qualifications, things of that nature?
Great question. No, actually. So we're obviously not going to ignore experience, right?
Right, yeah.
But what we're looking for is, I like to sum it up and say we're looking for someone who has the readiness to work, great attitude, wants to put the work and the effort in to train, to learn about safety. We can't forget that safety is a huge priority, right, for us. And so no, we're looking not necessarily for experience, but just that readiness and willingness to work and learn.
Lisa, how do you accommodate? This to me is a very troubling situation. Not what you do, but that people get disability payments for doing nothing. And now someone who is on disability really wants to go to work and wants to go to work with you. How do you accommodate paying them so that they don't lose their disability benefits? Because I'm just going to make this comment and then I'll turn over to you, but I know numerous situations, particularly with the military service people who get out, they find them totally disability, they give them $3,000 or $4,000 a month, but they prohibit them from doing any kind of work. And a lot of them ended up as drug addicts because they're bored to death, they don't have anything to do, they can't do anything worthwhile.
Sure.
How do you accommodate the people who are on a disability program but really want to work to better themselves?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and you'll have to give me a little bit of grace as I'm still learning a lot about SSI, SSDI as part of my learning process. So while we do leave it to the individual to know and understand their benefits that they receive, their disability benefits, if an employee comes to us and says, I think I have to work a few less hours because I'm in danger of losing my benefits, we are always going to have that conversation. Because that person, they're already receiving benefits, and then they're coming to us because they also want to work. That is a dream come true, right? So we're going to try to do whatever we can to accommodate their schedule. We've done that countless times, have reduced hours so that someone can maintain their benefits but still feel that productivity and that good feeling of coming to work. So that's an excellent question.
It's trouble. I think the whole thing is troubling that they make it so that people work. They have to sacrifice the money that they would otherwise get because it's a disincentive to do what really makes them feel better. Because from my standpoint, people who are working, I think psychologically, they feel better about themselves instead of just doing nothing and sitting around all day.
You could not be more right. And I know that professionally because now I've been working at Human Technologies and I see that happen every day. And I know that personally. You know, I have a family member who I've watched just blossom as she works more and more. Yeah. So that's a great thing. And that speaks to our supportive environment that, you know, Nate alluded to earlier. We are constantly working with people, not only to provide accommodations, but we're more than happy to work with external supports. A lot of our employees come to us, they have job coaches or they have family members who are their external support, external to the work environment, external support system. Again, to us, that's a dream come true because we're all in it for the same reason, right? We all want that person to feel that pride and confidence and I've come to work, I'm contributing to this awesome thing. And so we will work with job coaches as well on a daily basis.
And the position available, custodial position down in Binghamton, obviously you're based up here in Utica, and that's a few hours away. What would be the discussion in terms of if someone comes to you and you only have so many positions that you could offer? It's down in Binghamton. Is that someone who would have to be willing to relocate down there, or is there an ability to connect with people that are down there, or how would that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty rare that we're going to have someone wanting to relocate to Binghamton, but we actively recruit in the Binghamton area. So we have our recruitment market out there. We have a talent acquisition. Both of our talent acquisition specialists are awesome, by the way. But we have a talent acquisition specialist, Marianne, who focuses in that area, in other areas as well, external to Utica. And we have a supervision structure there too. So that person's not going to be put in that location alone. There are other employees there, and there are supervisors who also oversee that particular location. So
you find that your workers, when they get the jobs, are dedicated. They show up for work every day. They don't miss.
Yes, I mean for the most part, I think.
Probably,
yeah.
The same as the general population, or any difference?
I see no different patterns at Human Technologies that I did anywhere else that I worked. You know, poor weather, obviously, right? We had some call-ins, like you would anywhere. People get sick, but I don't see anything out of the ordinary.
So, Lisa, just one thing that you said there. So maybe a different structure than normal employment. So as Rocco was just mentioning, say that Binghamton position, that person, you know. If it wasn't through Human Technologies, maybe it was another company, they just report to the business and they do their job. But what you're saying here is this person, they'll report to work, but they also have that supportive aspect of it behind them, in a sense. So they might not feel alone, I guess, in a sense. They're just by themselves showing up. They have the resources and they do have that support if they do have questions or concerns or worries, right?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, we recognize this is hands-on work, right? Yeah. And it's going to be difficult to manage that from, 100 miles away. Yeah. So we need to have that supervision sort of hardwired into those main locations that we recruit that are outside of Utica. Yeah. But you also you make me want to dovetail into one other point here. So these are custodial positions, right? And while we could never guarantee any kind of promotion opportunities, right? You don't guarantee anything. We do have a really nice career ladder structure for this position. A custodian could, if they're doing a great job, we have the position available, they could have evolved and they could become a lead custodian. Right. They could become a project supervisor, which is what we have out in areas like Binghamton. Yeah. So these are not the typical, that's it. This is the limit, right?
Right. Or and again, I think just the point that you're not on your own. Right. You do have those, which I would assume certainly plays into your success.
Two questions on the demographics. One, and I'm not big on statistics, but I'm just curious the number of disabled people that have employment through yours.
Thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So our total workforce, I ran this yesterday actually. We have 338 employees. 256 of those employees are classified as direct labor, the type of positions we're talking about, right? And just under 84% of those folks are people with documented disabilities. Okay. That's a big number. We're so proud of that number. That's a big number, and those are people that we support. These are people who are productive, who are contributing to our mission, doing excellent work. Couldn't be more proud of that.
And the other demographic question I have is, what age group predominantly are in your program, and are they male, female? If you can just break that down, I'm just out of curiosity. The best you can.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. So I would say probably under the age of 30 for the positions we're talking about, but definitely there are definitely people who have very long-term careers with us who are in retirement age. We actually have a lot of retirement eligible folks. So that speaks to our longevity, right? But I would say mostly under 30 for those particular job groups.
Yeah,
The
male,
gender
female,
breakdown, I'm not quite sure of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a listener is texting and wants to know, do you strictly hire, human technology strictly hire people with disabilities?
That's a great question. No, not strictly, but we do have some contracts that we are going to seek persons with disabilities. We're going to have some contracts require that we have a certain ratio of disabled versus non-disabled folks, and so that will come into play. But no, I mean, out of that 338, there's a large number that are either indirect labor or persons without disabilities. So.
And what for those who wouldn't fall into the disabled category, is there anything about their conditions or their circumstances that fall into what Human Technologies is looking for?
Nope. Again, we're looking for attitude and effort, right? So no. We're a competitive employer, right? I mean, just like any other employer, we put job postings out there. We just happen to recruit it for our mission, which is to
Let's
create
reverse
employment.
that a little bit. Suppose there's somebody listening who says, I have a business, I would like to avail myself of your services, either uniforms or janitorial service or something. I didn't know about it until just now, but are you competitive price-wise with the private sector? If you had hired someone to come in, how are you in terms of comparing with other people doing the same work? And are you looking for people to want to use your services? Not the disabled people, but the employer who might want to hire you.
So yes, and yes. So yeah, we operate just as any other for-profit business would. So we have business models of breakdowns of everything that we do. We price competitively. We put a lot of time and effort into all of our contracts and scoping and speccing. And yes, so although I mentioned we're the uniform provider for the U.S. Forest Service, we also work with a lot of organizations locally to do all their team apparel. So on that side, yes, we're always looking to work with different organizations. And again, at the end of the day is our business really is creating employment. So any way that we can create this employment and further our mission, we're gonna do what we have to do that.
Either one of you jump on this if you want. And again, hopefully I don't go too far. We bring in politics here on the show. I mentioned the fact that I think there's a continued effort here, right? And I know you put something on your page, but you have the New York State Industries for those folks with disabilities. So continue to advocate, right, for these jobs and making sure that there are opportunities for them. And I was wondering, so do veterans fall in some of these categories where you're able to give them employment for disabilities?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Yep. And so with that, I guess my question is there an effort? And you guys continue, right? Maybe folks don't realize that there is an industry, there is a state effort, right, to continue to try to support folks and create more of these jobs. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and it's I guess I think the report you're referring to that was on we just posted on our Facebook page. It's NICE New York State Industries for the Disabled. So we're an MPA, we're a nonprofit association. So we work directly with NICE on the state level to provide employment and create employment opportunities. And that article refers to the modernization of the language. So we're looking at when some of these laws came into play, kind of some archaic language that so modernizing that, and through that modernization of that language, being able to create better, long-lasting opportunities.
Opening up more industry, more opportunity,
yes.
more employment.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. That's great. Yeah.
The listener wants to know, what's the minimum age for someone with a disability to take a job with your company?
Thank you for that question. Yep, that's age 18.
18?
Yep, 18. If I may, I think the other thing I want to add about what we do that's so important in our mission is that we see when people come to us, they have a documented disability and they start working, and we make accommodations. We work with job coaches. We do all the supportive employment things that I talked about. It's amazing to watch the transformation that happens. It becomes very quickly not at all about the disability. it becomes, not to sound cliche, about unlocking ability, right? And so that's what happens. So those efforts you're talking about to make, New York State and that's what the message we're trying to get out there. Try to work with us, unlock those possibilities, because it's amazing what people can do when you give them a chance.
They want to work. The focus
Yes.
is on the task, the job, and not the disability and what. Yeah, I think that's obviously what you talked about. As Nathan mentioned, we've had these conversations in the past on what you do, the number of different opportunities, the area in which you encompass as well. Which I think last time we talked, the hope is to continue to grow that as well, right? Some of the regions that you cover. So really great. But before go ahead, Mark.
Just personally, I
before
think
we
this
wrap
is
here.
a wonderful organization. And I wish
you.
this paradigm would be used in many other areas in our economy and in our society, because to me, what you're doing, not only are you giving people a feeling that they have some worth, which they don't have when they're sitting around, but you're self-supporting. You're not begging the taxpayers to give you money to do something with. You're saying we can be self-supporting. We can make our whole organization self-supporting. I didn't really know what you were until you came on this program, and the more I heard about it, the more the more complimentary I would be toward this program. I just think it's a terrific program. I hope you continue to grow, and I wish other people would use this same paradigm in other areas where we have problems with people, because this is, to me, the best thing you can do. Give people a purpose, and you give them recognition, you give them a reward and responsibility, and they're going to thrive.
Wonderful. We appreciate that support. We agree. Appreciate that support.
Well, and Lisa, with that being said, before we run out of time, as you mentioned, a number of current opportunities here. So if you want to give folks the best way to either find out more about them, apply, or even just, and we can get to Nate as well, if we could just find out more general information about human technologies. But yeah, those opportunities, how do we find out more about those?
Sure. Thank you. For anyone who's interested, you simply need to visit htcorp.net/employment or htcorp.net. There's an employment bar at the top that you can click on. That's where you'll check out opportunities, and that will lead you to the application process. Or again, if someone's in the area and would like to stop into our Dwyer Ave location, we have a kiosk right there in the lobby, and we're willing to help anybody who needs it through the application process.
Awesome. Well,
So,
yeah, great
you.
job. Nice meeting you. I know we're going to continue these conversations here. But Nate, if folks want to find out more just in general, what we talked about, some of what you guys do, and your mission there, what's the best way to do that?
Again, it's htcorp.net. Visit us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram. And again, I just want to leave it with, we have all these opportunities available. And again, if you're someone sitting at home listening to this today, or you have a loved one who could benefit from all these opportunities we have, this is your first job. If some jobs just may not have worked for you, don't let that discourage you from coming and applying. We are offering an environment that is going to help you unleash your potential. We want you to succeed, and we're going to work with you and do everything we possibly can to make you be successful. Again, that's our tagline. It's the power of people with purpose, and we want to see that every day.
Yeah, I think, hey, great reinforcement there, because if there may be somebody out there who says, yeah, I tried it, man, I don't want to do, it's not for me, I didn't like what happened, but no, give it another shot. And I think, as we were talking, just some of the differences, the supportiveness that you have there, that network that you have there to provide that opportunity is really great. So Nate, Lisa, again, thanks for taking the time. We'll do
Thank
this
you for
again.
having us.
Yeah, we'll do this again soon. We'll put all the information up there, htcorp.net, if you want to find out more about human technology. So stick with us. Talk 100.7 FM.